Hi guys, Gregg here, S9 Radio. And thanks for tuning into this comparison test of some of Browning's earliest offerings as far as receivers. We've got the R2700A going up against this Browning R27. So let's set the playing field for this comparison test. We've got two of Browning's earliest vintage receivers, fully restored, loaded up with the finest components money can buy. These are actual communications tubes, GE 5-star 10,000 hour rated tubes. Both sets are loaded up with them. Both sets have had all the IF transformers either replaced or restored. Now, adding validity to this test is the fact that both of these receivers suffered the dreaded K-tran IF transformer silver mica disease. These transformers were used in Pierce-Simpson CB radios, Regencies, hi-fi sets, and even some television sets of yesteryear. They're excellent transformers. However, the silver mica internal capacitors grow whiskers, they short out, the values change, rendering them pretty much worthless. As you can see, I've made every attempt to level the playing field on these two receivers. However, there are some fundamental differences between the two. Let's start with the R2700A having a single receiver preamp tube versus the R27's twin new Vistor setup, theoretically yielding just a little bit of additional gain. And then we've also got an extra 6BA6 IF amplifier tube and accompanying IF transformers, and then another set of IF transformers that gets thrown into series with this already extra set, really tightening up the IF strip on the R27 with a total of 3 IF amplifier tubes versus the 2 IF amplifier tubes found in the R2700A. So now that you've had a look at the pretty much identical top shelf componentry utilized within both receivers and the circuitry changes, let's have a look at the similarities and differences from the outward appearance. First off, even the earliest Browning receivers were considered Cadillacs, and consequently they employ a silky smooth reduction mechanism, allowing a very articulate, well-defined tuning. The R2700A also has a coarse tuning and a fine tuning knob that you won't find on the R27. However, the R27 has plenty of definition. You won't have any trouble finding your favorite frequency or tuning somebody dead on. It's still a very, very impressive fine tuning mechanism. So let's have a closer look at the front panel of the R2700A communications receiver. Notice it's got an adjustable noise limiter not found on the R27. It's also got a channel selector switch here that allows you to go from manual tuning using the receiver's internal VFO to 5 crystal controlled user selectable channels, which is pretty neat. And then we've got this antenna tune. Now keep in mind, 11-meter CB radio had just come about in 1958. This is a 1962 vintage receiver. Many people didn't even have a CB antenna back then, so they're hooking up to a long wire, a clothesline, whatever they had. This antenna tuner function was actually quite useful for optimizing receiver sensitivity. And overall, this is just a wonderful example of some of Browning's earliest 11-meter work. So let's have a closer look at the R27's front panel. First thing you'll notice, it's a split level front panel, meaning the control surface is slightly recessed from the upper half of the radio. And then the first control is the squelch, which also doubles with a push-pull automatic noise limiter, ANL, and then this next control is not found on the R2700, and this is the selectivity control that narrows the bandpass of the radio's IF section from broad to narrow. That's those extra IF cans that I pointed out earlier in the video. Channel 11, it's a real pileup of heterodyne and power stations. I've got the R27 Selectivity broad. It's picking up everything. Narrow. Hear all that junk coming in with that station? Now I went narrow. Look at that. I can pick a needle out of the haystack in the narrow selectivity. Now it's just a mumbo jumbo of heterodyne. Then of course you've got the volume on-off control. And then you've got this feature here that first appears on the R27 and follows on through to the Mark II series. This is the LOK-SET. This allows the user to go from manual VFO controlled radio channeling to a fixed frequency of a user selectable frequency. In this case, I've got channel 28 dialed in. Notice that when you do go from the manual VFO tuning to the fixed frequency, the channel and frequency indicator lights go out, which is completely normal, indicating that yes, indeed, you are now on a fixed frequency. Channel 12 in the manual mode. Channel 28 in the fixed position mode. And look at that. Allowing me to tune out a band. How cool is that? Down on 26915. And then you've got what Browning calls an AVC, an automatic volume control. This is actually an AGC, an automatic gain control, as it does control the gain of the IF stages. This control is useful for reception of extremely weak signals. Otherwise, you'll want the gain control on. As you'll see, signals will easily overload the receiver.
Worldwide Red Rose in Michigan scanning on down. Worldwide Red Rose in Michigan scanning on down.
Well, musically, I think the R2700 might have better fidelity.
Hello, 470. I might have well thrown my hat into the ring. Hey, 470, number 4, downtown Chicago.
Doing a weak signal test. I've got the 3-element Yagi with roughly 9 dBi forward gain, horizontally polarized, looking out over the South Pacific.
Big Blue, A310, any conditions on Route 1 back down under, roll over the handbrake. Yeah, right there around the Golden Gate Bridge, they call me the Wombat. The Wombat, down under, hello out there around the Golden Gate Bridge, we didn't quite get your handle, but we'll wait for you next time, so we've got some other mates in your location. Hello out there around the Golden Gate Bridge, Wombat. Wombat on the boat, trolley loading back brake. From my antenna up in the coconut tree and my little bit of paradise down under. A188, thanks for the shout. Enjoy your evening. We'll step to the side. Your Wombat Station friend down under, bro. Golden Gate, California was trying to surf Mother Nature's last bit of conditions out there, but 83 though, you out in the islands there, man, you're starting to rock in my radio. 83, my long-term friend, always in my car parking spot. Take it easy, 83, Wombat, bro. Roger that, Wombat, you take care, appreciate the get back on that end. Wombat down on the 83 right back, said aloha, have a good day, now, bye-bye. Hello, 83. 83, 33 on the Big Island. Take your 83, 33 on the BIG is gone. That's Brian Rudy, Diet 33, looking good in the big hole here. Hello, Brian Rudy, hello, 33 on the BIG. 83 left hand, my brother. Aloha, have a good evening. Aloha.
now we're going to tune up to channel 7 and listen to adjacent channel rejection, aka bleedover. Do the same thing here. Okay, now we'll go back to the R2700A. Gonna wait for a power station. There we go. Listen to that bleedover. Now we're going to go narrow on the selectivity. You can see a great reduction in bleedover. And then lastly, you can see the rear aprons of both of these receivers are nearly identical, like the rest of the Browning lineup, excluding the Mark IV series. They're all compatible, meaning you can mix and match various transmitter vintages and receivers together. They all use the same interconnecting cables. And that concludes the R27A R27 comparison test. Thanks for watching. And 73, Gregg, S9 Radio, aka WikiWhack, Big Bear Mountain, Southern California.